Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday, special Saturday edition here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode of Freedom Friday, we're going to talk about one of the stupidest fucking cunts currently in Congress, aka Jasmine Crockett, who y'all know is a crock of shit. Dumb bitch literally congressional district, Dallas, Texas, and it's probably one of the dumbest people I've ever heard open her fucking mouth about things, dude. She wants to talk about crime in the halls of Congress. She's one of the biggest criminals in Congress right now. So is Amelia Sykes, for that matter, who's a fucking complete total cheater. We've talked about Sykes many, many times, how if Frank LaRose, Secretary of State of Ohio, would actually do his fucking job, you would easily be able to prove voter fraud in the 2022 election cycle there. So, but of course, people don't want to do that, is what it is, dude. They never do. They never want to do that stuff, because if they did, it would mean they'd actually be doing their job instead of actually letting these fucking scumbag criminals continue to hold power they don't actually win seats of. So, anyways, I'm trying to grab one thing up here. So, we're gonna grab a couple things up here actually. Obviously, we're gonna grab the Wikipedia for this woman, and then we'll grab we'll do a little Google search here as well, because there's a couple stories that come up in the last week or so for her dumbass that we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about, by the way, in this episode, piece of shit Casey Weinstein again, who is obviously a state rep here in Ohio. Found out last night that scumbag Casey apparently has a Reddit account and is literally trying to shit talk other state lawmakers, specifically Josh Williams, because Williams specifically said for the Madeline Act, or I think it was Madeline's Law, was what they passed the other day. Williams said he specifically voted against it because Weinstein was one of the primary sponsors of it, and was essentially just being petty about things or whatever the case be. But honestly, I agree with Josh Williams on this one, because of the fact that it's like, yeah, fuck Casey Weinstein, dude. And as I've said from the beginning of this whole thing, I'm pretty sure that Madeline's Law was primary sponsored by Casey Weinstein, because one of his own children actually has hearing aid issues that they need hearing aids for. And that's what the whole legislation is about. It's about giving kids hearing aids for free on the taxpayer dime, is what it is. And it's like, if he actually has a child, Casey does, that has hearing issues and they have to have hearing aids and stuff like that, and he's doing it because of that reasoning, he's 100% committing fucking crimes at this point, because he's doing misuse of position, personal gain at this point in his current term in office. And as I've said many, many times, Casey Weinstein should already be in prison right now in the state of Ohio for many, many crimes he's committed right now, up to and including a hate hoax on himself 4 years ago, after I was federally swatted. And the fact that you had that never be investigated by any federal agents at all, when the dude was misusing the U.S. postal system and a bunch of other things for that matter, it's like, bro, what the fuck? And then you wonder why people get pissed off that these Democrats are still sitting in power to this day. Like, that's why we're fucking angry, because you're sitting there literally fucking using the weaponized FBI, etc., against us. And then meanwhile, people who are actually committing real fucking felonies out there that are state lawmakers ain't having shit done against them. The justice system, the two-tier justice system in this country, is so fucking beyond bullshit at this point. It's not even funny anymore. So, anyway, also for those interested, before we get into everything today, tomorrow night I will be doing a takeover on this channel for Honda, because he's going. I think he's either tonight or tomorrow. He's leaving for his trip to California with his sons and stuff. So he's not going to be around for his Gay Frogs chat. So we're probably going to do the first ever, I don't know, teeny tadpoles or something like that's what we'll call it, probably. Or we might just bring back Mark My Words, for that matter, honestly, dude, because we did a couple of those before. So anyway, it's called like Mark My Words, and then fucking whatever. Then I don't care, whatever. Anywho, it depends, man. It depends. We might actually do it as Mark My Words. I'm thinking about it. That would probably make more sense. But anywho, yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll have at least Corey on the panel. I've already talked to him about it, and then probably a couple other people too. We can do up to 5, and myself being the 6th. So depends on who all wants to come in then. And we'll have something going on there tomorrow night. I don't know what time exactly it'll be. If it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, if it'll be 9 p.m. Eastern, whatever it'll be. It's not going to be as late as Honda's usually is, because his is like, I think 10 or something my time, and it's like, or maybe it's like 10:30 my time, and it's like, it's a little bit late for me even, dude. Like, You know, like there's times where it's like I'm trying to do stuff, man. I don't want to be up like half the fucking night kind of thing is what it is there, or to do it as a reasonable hour. Plus, I found out recently that next week my niece is coming to live with us for a couple of days anyway, so that should be fun. We might have her on one of the streams in the future, and y'all can see the kid that I actually care about and have been caring about this whole time, and that's why this whole thing is being done right now. This is not to make a legacy for myself. It's to make sure that her and her generation don't get fucked over by these sick ass politicians. What it is, and that's the entire point. Is it's not for us, it's for them. We're doing what's best for these kids. We're making sure that all these issues that these fucking leftists keep bringing up, whether it be trans garbage to keep shoving down these kids' throats, etc. The anti-gun crap, etc., etc. There, that these kids are able to actually have a future where they have the Second Amendment to protect themselves from government tyranny, and they're not going to get fucked over and put into camps, Nazi Germany style, etc. So, anyway, but let's go ahead and we're going to do a little preface and talk about who is Jasmine Crockett, and then we're going to discuss the stupidity of the video she did the other day in the House floor there in Congress, which went a whole tirade grandstand type of deal is what it was. So Jasmine Felicia Crockett was born March 29th, 1981, so she's a couple years older than I am. Is an American attorney and politician serving as the U.S. representative for Texas's 30th congressional district at the beginning of the year. Said her district covers most of South Dallas County and parts of Turnett County, including Dallas Love Field Airport. A member of the Democratic Party, shocker, she previously represented the 100th district of the Texas House of Representatives. So basically, she was a state rep that became a U.S. rep now, just like Amelia Sykes's piece of crap ass is what it was, dude. And I guarantee you, honestly, like just from when I was watching this little clip I'm going to show here in a minute, the shit that Crockett was talking, I've heard it so many times before here at state level, whether it be Amelia Sykes a few years ago, whether it be fucking Janine Boyd, whether it be Stephanie House, whether it be any of these retarded ass black female Democrats. It's the same fucking garbage they always pull, dude. And when you actually call them out on it, what do they pull? They pull the fucking race card because they have no other card in their deck, dude. They have no actual real argument to your actual calling them out on their merits and stuff like that because they don't have any in most cases. And so they have to sit there and be like, well, I'm a black female, fuck you. And try to pull the race card. And it's like, no, fuck you, bitch. Like, you're 100% the problem going on currently because you're just adding the fuel to the fire is what it is. You're not doing anything to actually fix the fucking problems. You're just going to sit there and bitch and moan and try to make a name for yourself, AOC style, which is what this fucking piece of shit Jasmine Crockett is trying to do right now. And they want to get power. That's all it is, dude. They want to get more and more power, and they want to keep assuming power, and they want to wield the fucking power like Thanos with the power glove on to where they can snap people out of existence, aka unperson you from the internet, etc. there, or have people dox you, etc. That's exactly why they don't want to actually put real legislation through that would make doxing felonies in this country. Because if they did, it would mean that their Antifa and BLM fuckboys would no longer have an actual weapon to use against you to try to destroy your livelihood and destroy your financial, put you in financial ruin, etc. there, by destroying your jobs and everything else like that, and then trying to attack your house with direct actions, etc. there. So, yeah, they're a bunch of scumbags, dude. And honestly, if we had automatic disqualification on every seat of power in this country, auto DQs from office right now, I guarantee you that Jasmine Crockett would not be in office right now, dude. She would have been disqualified on the spot from even being in the running, for that matter, just from the platform she was running on and stuff like that, which I guarantee were anti-gun, anti-left, etc. there in Dallas, Texas. Which, by the way, it's funny to me that she wants to bitch about, crime in the halls of Congress. Meanwhile, the district she represents there in Dallas, Texas, is one of the biggest leftist shitholes of black on black crime, pedophiles fucking everywhere in that major city, etc., etc. And yet she wants to bitch about crime, dude. It's like, bitch, go back to your fucking district in Texas and clean that fucking shit up, and then come back and talk to me. Like, seriously, this is the problem with these fucking people, dude. Is they want to always pass the fucking buck, play the name game, etc., while not actually doing anything to fix the real problems and deal with the real issues or root causes like fatherless homes, etc. there. So, anyway, but yeah, so basically the gist of it is she was a state representative there in Texas, and now she's become federal representative. So, moving on to what this stupid ass video was, or she was talking about, which is funny to me. She's talking about the crimes in the halls of Congress. She was referencing George Santos by not even naming George Santos. I like to point that one out. Which, as I've said before, and have many other conservatives in this country, Santos should have never been allowed to hold fucking office. He should have never been allowed to even take an oath of office, because the second he was outed as a fucking scumbag, lying sack of shit, he should have been thrown on his fucking ass, and there should have been an automatic, brand new special election held in that district for a new person then. And if New York did it right, that's what they would have done, honestly. But instead, they let this douchebag assume office, is what it was, and they want to bitch and moan about, like, well, look at the Republican Party allowing this guy to take office. No, you fuckers did it yourselves, because you didn't automatically disqualify him on the fucking spot and replace him in a brand new election. And honestly, I wouldn't even give a shit if that fucking seat had gone to a Democrat then. Because at least maybe that Democrat would have been, on the fucking level, not a scumbag fucking cheater like Santos was, and a scumbag criminal like Santos was. Probably not, actually. They'd probably been worse than Santos, honestly, in most cases. But the entire point I'm trying to make is, it's like, yeah, you should have held a special election to replace his ass, is what it is. And that's the entire point of the matter. Or even the same vein of things, simply simply redistrict then, and fold that dude's district into maybe 2 other different districts, is what it is then. Like, some of it over here, some of it over there, for like whatever other ones are close enough to them, is what it would be then. And that way you have like one less member of Congress, and you have a better overall Congress, because it is a lesser people in it then, And I think that's the biggest problem with our society right now currently, honestly. You have like 50-something jackasses from fucking, California. You got 20-something jackasses from New York in there. And then you got other states that have like one congressperson. And it's like, bro, that does not equate. That does not equate at all. And this is the thing. I know people are going to sit there and talk about population densities this, population densities that. Population density, my fucking ass, dude. It does not matter how big your population is. There should be a mandatory minimum / maximum in every single state in this country. And if it was up to me personally right now, fuck that 270 shit for the presidency, dude. We down that a little bit, and we actually have better representation in this country, because every single state gets 5 seats maximum. And it's as simple as that. And that way you have like several hundred less jackasses in power to be corrupt, to be doing insider trading, etc. there. So, anyway. But going on to Jasmine's stupid shit here, you see, you had some other black chick going on there and like basically doing the agreement thing. I don't understand. Like, this is the problem with these people with this content, dude. Like, instead of actually just showing the content of like the representative is what it is, no, you want to get your own claim to fame, put your own stupid fucking face in there is what it is. To be like, oh, look, it's my original content, except it's really not, is what it is, dude. You're just basically stealing fucking, C-SPAN shit and then re-showing it as your own, is what it would be then. So, anyway. But, yeah, this is what this is labeled as. I said, all Democrats need to be speaking like this and backing it with action. No, any Democrat that speaks like this needs to be tossed out on their fucking ass right now, is what it is, dude, because I guarantee they should be investigated, number one, because they probably have criminal shit on them, is what it is, dude. And that's the entire point of the matter. It's like the old, don't throw stones at glass houses thing, because in most cases, y'all live in glass houses, dude. So, anyway. Talk about going full ghetto. Yeah, talk about complete ghetto trash, dude. Seriously. Like, honestly, I'll tell you what this chick reminds me of more recently. She reminds me of that piece of shit Justin Jones from Tennessee. Honestly, here's the thing right now, right? If you looked into Jasmine Crockett hard enough, and I haven't even barely scratched the surface of this woman yet myself, I guarantee if I did deep dives on this woman, I would find direct ties to BLM terrorism right now. I would not be the least surprised if she was out there in 2020 with a fucking bullhorn in one of these major cities, bitching and moaning about, like, we need reparations this, and you need to fucking do all kinds of shit there, and everything else like that. And then you have people burning down fucking buildings, etc. that night is what it was. So, Yeah, it's just crap, dude, entirely. And what's funny to me though is, right, she'll sit there and bitch and moan about that stuff, but yet she herself doesn't introduce articles or legislation to actually make that happen, you know? Like, that's the thing, lady. You're a fucking sitting congresswoman, supposedly. Why wouldn't you introduce legislation, an actual bill, that makes that illegal in Congress? That makes it so that you can't hold office if you're under, felony indictment or whatever the case be. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not going to do it because you're a piece of shit who would rather sit there and grandstand and rant and rave, etc., and bitch and moan and try to score brownie points by purchasing under the fucking Democrat voter base there, instead of actually doing something to make reality happen and make actual change for the better of this country. Because just like every other Democrat in that fucking House of Representatives currently, you are an oath-breaking sack of shit, lady. You don't give a fuck about the U.S. Constitution you actually swore an oath to uphold, especially not the Second Amendment when your name is on multiple anti-gun bills right now. So don't even fucking come at me and try to claim that you give a fuck about crime and stuff like that, bitch, when you clearly don't. If you give a shit about crime, you know what you'd be doing? You'd be locking up people in your own congressional district who are committing felony firearms crime. You would be going after these fucking gangbangers that happen to share the same skin tone as your ass, that sit there and commit multiple fucking murders, that go around fucking, stealing guns and throwing Glock switches and stuff on them, or committing multiple felonies in the process. Number one, stealing a firearm. Number two, putting an illegal switch on it. You would be demanding accountability of the ATF on those fucking people. But no, instead, you'd rather back ATF's bullshit pistol brace ruling, which, by the way, they don't even have the actual ability to even make reality because they're not fucking Congress. They're not an actual body of legislation. They are an unconstitutional, unelected entity. And that's the entire point of the matter. And if you actually look at the history of the ATF, it goes all the way back to literally fucking prohibition in this country. Back in the day, they were the revenue agents in the 1920s and 30s. Then they became a bunch of other assholes, and then it became eventually a thing. And like I believe it was the 60s or 70s, somewhere in there, is when they actually became a real entity, is what it was, known as the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives, etc. There. So, but yeah, it's a bunch of shit either way, dude. They've been unelected forever. Same thing with the FBI. Same thing with DOJ for that matter. And yet we allow these fucking actual 3-letter alphabet agencies to have any kind of power in this country when they don't actually have the power. They're being granted that power by an unconstitutional, tyrannical government, is what it is. And I, for one, I'm sick and tired of it, honestly. And I think many other people are, for that matter, too, as well. As we should be. Because, again, you are trying to literally steal our fucking rights away from us, because we know what your end game is at this point. We know that, in fact, your end game is to literally go Nazi Germany, because every single thing that you fuckers have done at this point leads directly to that. Leads directly to death camps, leads directly to everything else like that. And the only reason during lockdowns you didn't try the shit that they tried in Australia and New Zealand, where they were locking people up in cages and stuff like that, dude, is because we have fucking guns in this country. Is because the citizenry of this country is well fucking armed and is the modern day militia. We are the actual entities of a free state that our founding fathers talked about in the Second Amendment. Quite literally. We are the militia keeping the states free at this point. And if it wasn't for these fucking scumbags overreaching, we wouldn't have this issue anymore. And like I said, Jasmine wants to sit there and bitch about, like, oh, my time this, my time that. It's like, who gives a shit about how much time you have left, lady? Speak your piece, and then maybe actually introduce legislation after the fact. Hell, call Santos out by name for that matter. Instead of saying, my freshman colleague, no. Say, Representative George Santos has been indicted on 13 felony charges now. And then say, because of this man, I'm going to introduce this piece of legislation that would actually make this all better now. But no, you're not going to do that because you don't actually give a shit. You just want to score points with the fucking left. You just, really what it is she knows for a fact she's in a re-election cycle right now. She has to be re-elected in 2024 to be in there for second term now. And so instead of actually, doing something that would actually make it so that her constituency wanted to re-elect her, instead she'll just rant and rave and act like she's doing something when she's not. And so she'll get re-elected on that, basically, is what it is. It's just like the same bullshit when it comes to people like Lindsey Graham, etc. there. trying to be like, oh look, we're pro 2A. We're introducing this legislation now that we know for a fact it's never going to fucking pass because we don't have the actual numbers to pass it. And they'll do that every single time, by the way, when they don't hold the actual majority is what it is. But when they actually do hold the majority, like, I don't know, during Trump's administration, when they had literally the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and you had that fucking sack of shit McConnell along with Graham, etc., hold on to the Hearing Act that would have allowed for suppressors to be taken off the ATF there, or sorry, taken off the NFA there, that the ATF controls obviously right now. And instead, they fucking let it sit on McConnell's desk and die for almost 18 months. It was passed through the House. It was sitting in chambers in Senate, just sitting on McConnell's desk, really waiting to be taken up for a vote and then sent to Trump's office. But instead, they let it sit there and just die. And then what happened in the 2018 midterms? You had that piece of shit Cortez and the fucking retard cunt squad get into office, etc. Democrats took the House, obviously, so they lost that chamber. And now since then, they've obviously divided the Senate, is what it is too, as well, for that matter. And so you had them have a perfect opportunity, just completely fucking squandered, because that's the problem with career politicians in this country. And as I said before in the grandstands on this channel, the terms career and politician should not go with each other. Those should never be a thing. You should never be in office long enough to be a career anything, dude. You should never hold elected office of this country for long enough to be a quote unquote career politician. You should be getting in there for a couple of terms at most and then getting the fuck out. You know, if you're going to do stuff that's good, do stuff that's good. That's awesome. That's how it should be anyway. And then get the fuck out and let the next person come up there is what it is. But instead, you have these same people being in office 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 some years in fucking some cases, dude. And it's like, at what point do we say enough is enough, dude? No. Sorry. I don't care if you're corrupt or not, you know? You're old as shit. Get the fuck out and let the next generation take over now. Let the new breed of constitutions like myself take over. Hell, give us the financial backing to take those seats down. That's the only thing we're missing out on this point, dude. In my case, specifically. And a lot of people like myself that actually give a shit about the Constitution is what it is. We don't have the financial means. We don't have the millions of fucking dollars to run for Congress or Senate or whatever the case be, or even at state levels for random seats of power here. We don't have $50,000, $100,000. Hell, in the case of the governorship the past go around now, it was like, what, 15, 20 million bucks that DeWine had to win by is what it was there against Nan Whaley. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? That's insane. For a governorship that pays less than $150,000 a year? Are you fucking retarded? It's just complete psychoticness is what it is. And then, of course, like I was going to say in that one grandstand here, that I don't have time to do on this right now because I've got to wait for my reset on my thing now. You got the Democrats who are all big mad now is what it is because we got the, Republicans passing all those anti child sterilization bills, et cetera there. So, yeah, they're all butthurt. And then, of course, Weinstein's all bitching and moaning about, Josh Williams, et cetera there. So, for those that pay attention to the Ohio Patriot Education Network's Twitter account, we posted some stuff last night about that one and this morning then about Weinstein's Twitter account not his Twitter account, about his Reddit account there and how he was basically using it to try to shit talk new state rep Josh Williams. Which, by the way, Williams is a pretty good dude. He's a pro 2A guy. If it wasn't for Josh Williams, actually, I wouldn't have known about the actual child predation legislation that Democrats are backing right now, because he was the one that brought to my attention actually on Twitter. There, it was his. He used his Twitter account to basically call out that one article where it was discussing how Elliot Forthon and that Abduli woman, etc., we're all backing legislation now that would make it easier to lure kids in the cars in the state of Ohio. So, yeah, I do appreciate Josh for that one. And obviously, he's the dude backing a lot of the good Pro 2A bills right now. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's actually part of the Second Preservation Act right now or not, but he needs to be anyway. But yeah, needless to say, though, this Jasmine Crockett woman, she really is a crock of shit, honestly, dude, legitimately. And like I said, I guarantee if you actually looked hard enough into her, you would definitely find direct ties to BLM terrorism, etc. there. And you'd probably also find massive voter fraud, too, would be my guess, given the fact that you can easily manipulate different, districts in this country, depending on where you're at and what state you're in and stuff like that is what it is, dude. And especially who's ballot counting then. So, anyway, I don't know. I just can't wait until the August election's over here in Ohio and we can finally have the 60% amendment through, hopefully, and people will actually be smart enough to realize and wake up to the fact that it doesn't be a thing right now. Because the thing of it is, right now, honestly, it's like, when you got, and this is the thing too, right now, to me personally, with the whole, August election cycle here. And of course, now you got what's funny to me is you had CBS News, one of the biggest fake news entities in this entire country right now, bitching and mooning about it this week in one of the 6:30 news. This is what it was there, and being all like, "Oh, look, we sat down with ex Supreme Court judge or ex state Supreme Court judge Maureen O'Connor, who should have been arrested a year and a half ago and put in Ohio's prison system the rest of her damn life at this point." And as I even talked to my own state rep, Reggie Stolfus, about it last year, and he specifically said to me, the only reason that she wasn't being impeached then is because they didn't have the votes, is what it was. And it's like, are you serious, bro? Like, come on. Like, how do you not get 60 people to agree on something to impeach this woman? Like, seriously, how many rhinos are in our fucking state house right now that you can't get the 60 votes in the Republican Party when you have over 6% majority at that point? So, yeah, it's just insane to me, man. It really is. But yeah, he basically said his direct phrasing to me was, "You're going to kill the king, don't miss." So, yeah. And that was what it was with O'Connor. Because I even said then, I was like, why is she not being impeached, and why are all the Democrats on the Supreme Court not being impeached then as well? Because they should all want impeached over the map redistricting stuff, is what they're doing at the time. Not to mention they also sided with Bloomberg in a Pro 2A case, is what it was, and I guarantee that was some backdoor bribe shit. And like I said before, I believe truthfully, honestly, the thing with Allison Russo 2 years ago that I saw on camera, with her taking that big ass envelope full of cash bribe from Moms Made Action members, I guarantee that did not go to Russo herself. It was probably Russo handing it off to O'Connor or one of her aides or something like that for Maureen's payoff then that day. And that was the thing. They should have looked into that back then, dude. And the fact that they didn't, and the fact that I even talked to my state rep last year and he didn't even know what fucking happened. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, seriously, dude, pay attention. Like, you're representing me, bro. Like, pay the fuck attention. And if you're not going to pay attention, I'll call it out and I'll tell you what the fuck's going on, dude. Get the investigations going already. Damn, man. Seriously. You know? It's just insane to me, man. And then you try to point out, like, oh, yeah, it's kind of hard to do an investigation over an envelope that's like, even though you could clearly tell there's like a big stack of cash in it, it's like, come on, man. Seriously, bro. Like, does it not, like, seriously, how does a shady as fuck event like that not investigate something then? So, anyway. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, though, with that is I'd actually have to go down to the state house then, and I don't really feel like doing that. Is what it is. So, of course, I don't know if anybody heard about that last week. The van finally conked out, so we're going to try to get a new vehicle now, which is going to be a pain in the dick because it's going to cost about $8,000 to $10,000 at least to make it happen, which we don't have that money right now. So we're probably going to do a GoFundMe for it and try to do some e-bagging and stuff like that. So, not that I really want to e-bag, but it's either that or you know don't get arrested for prostitution, I guess, is what it'll be then. So obviously I'm joking because OnlyFans is legal, bro. So not that I would, but mostly I'm not a hot chick, is what it is. And the thing about OnlyFans and all those sites like that is what it is only a couple of those females actually make like real money, is what it is on there. So there's a lot of like average looking chicks on there that make like a couple bucks a month, is what it is, man. And it's like, yeah, I can't afford that for the next 10 years of my life or whatever it be then. So I don't know. Trying to figure it out is what it is though. But yeah, either way, it sucks. It really does. But then again, that van did have a good 18 years in its lifespan before obviously the engine went kaput now. And you know, it definitely was here for a long, well, I think it was under our care for like most of that time, so it's definitely, I think we had it for about 13 or 14 years then maybe. So, yeah. It was only like two owners or something. We were the second one. And it definitely worked out well for us, but yeah, either way. It sucks that it happened, but hopefully my cousin will be able to find something for us here and be able to put the money together somehow then and get it done then. Unfortunately, we didn't hit the lottery the other day, which would have been so much better. So, anyway. But that being said, I think that's pretty much it for this one. Like I said, we'll be back at some point here tomorrow for whatever we're going to call the takeover chat at this point. We're Honda there. Probably a Mark My Words episode or something then. If anyone wants to be on the panel, let me know. I'll, depending on who people are actually on the panel to start out with, we might just toss the link in the description or something like that if anyone wants to jump on then for a few minutes of bullshit then or something, because more than likely it's just going to be a bunch of talk about different subjects and stuff. I'm debating right now, and we could actually talk about the Titanic conspiracy theory thing going on right now, where you have the couple of those guys that were killed. One of them apparently had direct ties to East Palestine chemicals, so it's like, yeah, that's pretty fucking shady, man. But it is what it is. So anyway, we might just talk about 2A stuff for a little while as well on that. And if I had X amount of dollars, what I would actually be buying right now, because they got some good deals locally at the Fin. So, anywho, but other than that, I think I'm gonna drop the StreamYard link in the back chat here if anyone wants to come in and bullshit for a few minutes though. But other than that, I think that's where we're at for today though, because I'm getting kind of tired. I was out berry picking a little before I started this tonight, and I think I got some mosquito bites because it had rained earlier, and I think they were hiding in the patch again. So getting a little bit itchy in the back of my arms right now. But other than that, that's where we're at for the day though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Fuck Jasmine Crockett. She is a crock of shit. That's all I'm gonna say about the end of the day. Mostly Congress in general was that way too. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all tomorrow night.